supplication after the adhan. Upon the completion of the adhan, it is recommended that the listener recites the following supplication: اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته, which means, O Allah, Lord of this complete call and of the prayer to be held, grant Muhammad the most favored and excellent position in the paradise and raise him to the praiseworthy place that you have promised him. It is highly recommended to recite the above supplication at the end of every adhan, and in this regard the Prophet ﷺ said, it becomes obligatory upon me to intercede for him, person reciting the supplication on the day of judgment. Reported by Al-Imam al-Bukhari. Iqamah, second call to prayer. Iqamah is the second call to the prayer and is said inside the mosque at the start of the congregational prayer. It goes as follows. Number 1, Allahu Akbar, repeated 2 times. Number 2, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, once. Number 3, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, once. Number 4, Hayya ala Salah, once. Number 5, Hayya ala al-Falah, once. Number 6, Qad qamat as-Salah, repeated 2 times. Number 7, Allahu Akbar, repeated 2 times. Number 8, La ilaha illallah, repeated once. Notes. A. It is recommended that a brief time gapping be maintained between the adhan and the iqamah to allow the congregation to get ready for the salah. B. It is preferred that the iqamah is performed by the same person, muaddin, who performed the adhan. C. It is disliked for anyone to leave the mosque once the adhan is made, unless for urgent reason or reasons, but with a determination to return for the prayer. D. It is prohibited to offer voluntary prayers after iqamah has been called out. The Prophet ﷺ says, when iqamah is called out, no prayer is permissible except the obligatory one. Reported by Imam Muslim. E. If a person misses a prayer due to oversleeping or forgetfulness, then before starting the missed prayer, the person is required to come up with both adhan and iqamah. However, if a person misses a number of prayers, it is preferred that he comes up with only one adhan for all the missed prayers, but to come up with a separate iqamah for each salah. F. Where a person misses the congregational prayer at the mosque, such a person, before starting to pray, is at liberty to either perform or omit the adhan and the iqamah. However, if he decides to perform the adhan, it is preferred that he does it in a low voice, so as not to attract the attention of others outside. Number 9. It is not obligatory on women to perform the adhan and iqamah, but if they wish to perform the same, there is no harm. Performance of the salah. After introducing the salah and discussing its prerequisites, we shall now turn to matters pertaining to its actual performance. Conditions for the prayer. Now we are talking about shurut as-salah. There are a number of conditions which need to be fulfilled for the prayer to be valid. These are as follows. Number 1, acceptance of Islamic faith. Disbelievers are not required to establish salah until they believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and bear witness that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. Number 2, an-niyyah. This in Arabic means the intention by heart to perform the particular prayer. Number 3, cleanliness. This includes cleanliness of the body, the clothes, and the place where the prayer is to be performed. Number 4. Purification. This refers to the performance of wudu or ghusl where it is required prior to undertaking the prayer. Number 5. Concealing of the private parts. For a man, it is essential that he covered at least from the navel to the knees all around, while in the case of woman, her body should be totally covered except for the face and wrists, of course, if there isn't a stranger man attending. Number 6. Facing the Qibla. This means that a person, when praying, must face towards the direction of the sacred mosque in Mecca, where a person is not able to locate the direction by himself or herself. The person may ask another person who may know the direction of the Qibla. However, if no one is in sight to guide to the right direction, then the person should decide for himself or herself and make the best guess of the correct direction of the Qibla, and accordingly perform the prayer in that direction even though the guess may be incorrect. The prayer performed would still be acceptable, inshallah, in view of the following verse of the Holy Quran. Whichever direction ye turn, there is the presence of Allah. Quran, Surah number 2, verse 115. Number 7. Timing. Prayers are to be observed in their prescribed times. Number 8. Sanity and consciousness. Prayer is required only from persons of sound mind. Number 9. Ability to distinguish. Prayer is required only where the child is able to distinguish between good and bad, and is able to understand and appreciate fully what is to be recited, performed, etc. Note: it is preferred for children to begin performing the prayer at the age of 7, for it awakens in them the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and inculcates in them the habit of praying as an act of worship and love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A child at the age of 10 is made to understand that prayer is necessarily a part of the person's daily life and is a solemn duty ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on all Muslims, and that failure to perform it is an act of disbelief, kufr. Therefore, parents are required to guide their children to the right path by punishing any of them who at the age of 10 intentionally misses the prayers. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Order your children to pray when they reach the age of 7, and punish them for not performing it at the age of 10, and separate them, that is boys and girls, in their beds," reported by Al-Imam Al-Bukhari. Upon attaining the age of 15, a child is deemed to have reached adulthood, whereby he or she is required to perform the prayer. Here below are some other signs which may indicate that a child has attained adulthood. Letter A. The growing of pubic hair. B. Finding traces of semen on the child's clothes and or bed. C. The start of menstruation in the case of a girl. Categories of the acts of the Salah. All the acts, readings and supplications undertaken in the course of the Salah have different legal weights and implications. They are categorized as follows. Letter A. Pillars of the Salah. Arkan al-Salah. B. Necessary duties of the Salah. Wajibat al-Salah. C. Preferred acts of the Salah. Sunan al-Salah. We shall now discuss each of these categories in turn. Pillars of the Salah. Arkan al-Salah. The prayer has obligatory pillars which must be fulfilled for it to be valid, and these are as follows. Number 1. Al-Qiyam. Prayer is to be performed in a standing position if a person is physically capable. 2. Takbiratul Ihram. That is saying Allahu Akbar at the commencement of the prayer. Number 3. Al-Fatiha. that is reciting the opening chapter of the Holy Quran in every rak'ah. Number 4, الركوع. This is bound posture, whereby the head and the back are positioned on the same level, and both hands are rested on the knees, with the fingers spread apart. Number 5, a requirement to raise the head up from the ruku' position. Number 6, a requirement to stand up from the ruku' position in such a way that the person feels that all his or her backbones are straightened. Number 7, sujood or as-sujood, that is prostrating oneself in such a way that the following 7 parts of the body are firmly placed on the ground: the forehead together with the tip of the nose, both the palms, both the knees, the bottom surface of the toes of both feet. B, or number 8, a requirement to raise the head from the sujood position. Number 9, a requirement to sit upright during the pause between the 2 prostrations. Number 10, a requirement to take a sitting position for the recitation of the at-tashahhud, words of witness. Number 11, a requirement to recite the final at-tashahhud. Number 12, a requirement to recite the words of supplication for the Prophet ﷺ. Number 13, a requirement to conclude the prayer with the words of peace, taslim, that is, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And it is added, wa barakatuh, but it may be done only on the right side. Number 14, a requirement that is fulfilling the above pillars, the person should be in the state of tranquility. The above are the pillars of the prayer, wherein if any of them is missed, it is required to repeat the whole rak'ah unit in which the pillar is omitted. But if the takbiratul ihram is omitted, it becomes necessary to repeat the whole salah. Now, necessary duties of the salah, wajibatul salah. In addition to the above 14 pillars of the prayer, there are also certain necessary duties which need to be fulfilled in the course of the salah. These are as follows. Number 1, saying Allahu Akbar in the course of the prayer, where it is necessary. Example, upon commencing ruku', etc., etc. Number 2, saying Subhana Rabbi al-Azim when in ruku' position. Number 3, saying Sami Allahu liman hamidah while resuming standing position from the ruku', whether the person is an imam, leader, or is praying alone, munfarid. Number 4, saying Rabbana wa lakal hamd when resuming the standing position from the ruku' after saying the words Sami Allahu liman hamidah. This is required from the imam leader, from the congregation, and even from a person who is praying alone. Number 5, saying Subhana Rabbi al-A'la when in sujood, prostration position. Number 6, saying Rabbi al-Firli in the sitting pose between the 2 prostrations of every unit of the prayer. Now number 7, taking a sitting position for the recitation of at-tashahhud after the first 2 rak'ahs, units of al-Dhuhr, al-Asr, al-Maghrib, and al-Isha prayers. Number 8, reciting at-tashahhud, words of witness after the first 2 rak'ahs, units of al-Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and al-Isha prayers. The above 8 acts constitute the necessary duties of the prayer, and if one of them is missed unintentionally, then the person is required to amend the mistake by coming up with the 2 prostrations of the forgetfulness at the end of the prayer. However, if any of these duties is left out deliberately, then the whole prayer is nullified and shall require a repetition. With this we come to the end of tape 1 of Kitab as-Salah, and still there are other pages to be recorded on the next tapes. Thank you.